Hellraiser, the price of curiosity. The urban loft was Elena's sanctuary, a place where her creations, born from twisted nightmares, took form. She was a sculptor, but it was more than art to her. It was an obsession, a need to understand something deeper, darker. Her latest pieces were grotesque, distorted forms that mirrored the visions that tormented her every night. But no matter how much she worked, she felt an empty void inside her, one that art alone couldn't fill. On a rainy afternoon, Elena stumbled upon it, an old, weathered market tucked in the back streets. There, under a flickering light, a vendor, his face hidden in shadows, offered her a box, carved with intricate symbols, sharp edges, and a sinister aura. It was the Lament Configuration.
You seek more than you know.
The vendor warned, his voice barely a whisper.
This is not a gift, but a price.
Elena didn't care. With a few crumpled bills, the box was hers. It felt cold in her hands, unnaturally so, but she was drawn to it, unable to resist its pull. Back in her loft, she ran her fingers over the edges, tracing the strange patterns until she clicked one side into place. The world around her shuddered. The room grew colder, the air thickening with the scent of something foul. Elena's breath turned to mist in the freezing air. Her heartbeat raced, but she couldn't stop. She clicked another side into place. The chains appeared first, long, jagged, and coated in a viscous black fluid that gleamed in the dim light. A low, guttural hum filled the space. She stumbled back, but the shadows seemed to warp and twist around her. The walls groaned, and suddenly a voice, a low, unyielding presence, filled her mind.
You have summoned us. Your desire has opened the door.
Pinhead emerged from the darkness, his figure tall and imposing, his face a map of suffering and calculation. The Cenobites followed, each one more grotesque than the last. Bodies reshaped by agony, their forms a grotesque blend of mutilation and divine precision. One had hooks embedded in its skin, another's flesh was peeled back to reveal delicate exposed organs like jewelry on display. The air became thick with the sound of chains dragging across the floor, pulling taut as they converged on her. "No! Stop!" Elena screamed, but her voice cracked, swallowed by the otherworldly noise around her. Her hands trembled as she held the box, the edges digging into her palms. Pinhead's voice was cold, without mercy.
You have opened the door, and now you will face the price of your curiosity.
The chains snapped forward, latching onto her limbs, pulling her in every direction, tearing at her skin. She cried out in agony, but each time she screamed, the pain intensified. Her body stretched impossibly. Her flesh pulled and twisted as if it were mere clay. The pain was beyond comprehension, but it was not the end. It was only the beginning. One Cenobite moved closer, its fingers long and sharp, carving into her sides as it whispered in her ear. Feel it. Taste it. The beauty of suffering. You wanted to understand, and now you will see the truth. The world around her warped as more chains erupted from the floor, wrapping around her chest, lifting her into the air. Blood poured from the open wounds, splattering against the floor as she was torn apart, piece by piece. But even through the unbearable pain, there was a strange clarity. The agony was intoxicating. Pleasure and pain blurred together in a twisted harmony. Pinhead's gaze pierced her soul.
Do you see now, Elena? This is your truth. You've sought more. This is the price.
With each twist and pull, her body shifted, reshaping itself in ways she couldn't comprehend. Her flesh fused with metal, her skin a patchwork of cuts and scars. Her mind fragmented, but there was something in her, an insatiable need to become. The Cenobites held her, their eyes empty, their expressions unreadable as she breathed heavily, her body now an amalgamation of flesh and steel. She no longer saw herself as human. Will you accept the change, Elena? Pinhead's voice cut through the chaos. Embrace what you have become. Let the transformation be complete. Or you can perish in this labyrinth of your making. She looked at the Cenobites around her, beings who had transcended human limits, bound by a divine order of pain and pleasure. Elena knew what she had to do. I choose to become, she whispered through bloodied lips. Her voice was steady, a reflection of the new clarity that coursed through her veins. "I will join you. I will embrace the transformation." Pinhead nodded, a slight motion as if approving her choice. The chains pulled tighter, and Elena's body was remade. The agony ceased to matter. Only the transformation remained. As the light dimmed around her, Elena became one with the Cenobites. Her once human form now a perfect fusion of metal and flesh, an eternal tormentor in the labyrinth.
Bloody Mary's Horror Stories. Watch, like, and subscribe.